start again. It's a rich thing.
What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about whether or not Zach LaVine deserves and will get the max contract from the Chicago Bulls in this offseason. Now, at the end of the day, this is just my prediction and my opinion on the situation. But Zach LaVine himself said some pretty interesting things, said some things that might unsettle the Chicago Bulls fans. And I just wanted to give my opinion on that situation in its entirety. I was going to make this video down the line, but when things like this get said, it does bring those types of feelings and those types of emotions to the front of the table. So we'll talk all about that in this video. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about Zach LaVine getting the max contract. Do you think it will happen? Do you think he deserves it? And ultimately, will he decide to go to other places even if we do offer the max contract? So I'm sure we're not the only team that's thinking about giving Zach LaVine the max contract. I'm sure there are many other teams out there that will consider bringing in Zach LaVine into their team. He's a talented player. Of course, he does have some things he needs to work on, and he has to get healthy for next season as well. But there are many people that are willing to give a chance on Zach LaVine, in my opinion. So, first things first, we need to talk about what Zach LaVine actually said in this situation. When asked upon free agency, Zach LaVine said, in quotes, "I understand the relationship I've had with AK and the last 5 years here. I hope the city understands how much I care about the Bulls. I'm going into everything open-minded, but knowing how much I've enjoyed my time here." That is Zach LaVine's quotes about the Chicago Bulls and about free agency. That doesn't necessarily fill you with confidence, does it? Of course, he's praised the Chicago Bulls, praised his time here, praised how much he cares about the city. But those, to me, sound like words of potentially I'm leaving. And that's something that I never thought of coming into this season and coming into 2 seasons ago as well. I always thought Zach LaVine would get that max contract. So those words like that are very intriguing. Of course, it doesn't guarantee he's going to leave, and nor does it guarantee he's going to stay. But it does put, I think, less confidence on that situation, in my opinion. So I'm going to be talking about whether or not he will and he deserves that max contract. So looking at this season for Zach LaVine, I think we can all say, in all fairness, and with most people agreeing on the situation, that he hasn't had his best season this year. I think far from it. And as I said in previous videos, when it comes to Zach LaVine, I think a lot of it has come down to his injury and certain roles that he's had to play. For example, he did have a torn thumb ligament. He did have a sore back, a back contusion, I believe it was. He also had a knee injury, which affected him from the second half of the season all the way into the NBA playoffs. He's just been a relatively unhealthy player this year. It's very unfortunate that that's happened. He obviously got into protocols as well twice this year. Just extremely frustrating, extremely unfortunate, and it hasn't been a good season. Looking at Zach LaVine's stats this year, he's averaged 24.4 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, 4.5 assists, shooting 47% from the field and 38.9% from the three-point line. Now, those stats definitely looked a lot better at the beginning of the season, and that's the Zach LaVine that we can hope we see next year, because if he can do that as a player, then I think he is a max contract player. If we see the 23 and 15 assist or 13 assist performance in I think it was game 4 of the NBA playoffs, we would definitely see a max contract version of Zach LaVine. However, has he done, first of all, will he get the max contract? I think in this market, in terms of these types of players, even if someone doesn't deserve the max contract, you have to overpay to keep these types of players. I think AK said some very interesting things in his press conference, saying that he hopes Zach LaVine will stay here for years to come, basically praising the big 3 of this team. Whether we want to see it or we don't want to see it, if that's what AK truly feels, then I don't see any reason why Zach LaVine will not get the max contract from the Chicago Bulls this offseason. The question is now, will Zach LaVine choose other teams before us? That's the real question here, because I've had no doubts in my mind that Zach LaVine will get the max contract. Many people say sign and trade. To sign and trade, he's still going to get the max contract. Many people say he will just stay here, but for less money. It seems like at an open mind, there's going to be competition for Zach LaVine. I think the Bulls are going to have to spend the cash on bringing him back to the Chicago Bulls team. This is our first year with this big three. And it's failed in some aspects. It's succeeded in others. And obviously, there's more than a big three, in my opinion, on this team. I think Lonzo Ball makes this a big four when he does return. And of course, we'll have other players, whether it comes to new players and returning players on this team, to help make this team stronger than last year. But Zach LaVine is a big part of that. And if AK wants to see him here, then the money is going to be spent whether we like it or whether we don't like it. And now I'll ask the question, should Zach LaVine get the max contract this season? Look, or next season I should say as well. But based on this season, my answer would be no. But based on previous seasons as well as this season, I think he's done enough to at least see how it goes with that max contract. And look, it's a big risk to take. You're basically maxing out, you're capping out everything when it comes to the Chicago Bulls if you're going to give Zach LaVine that max contract. But previous seasons, in my opinion, has made me believe Zach LaVine can be a max contract player. And this season has been disappointing from him, but there are obviously certain situations and certain circumstances that have hindered him from playing at his best this year. So I think it's only right to give him that chance. So I do think Zach LaVine should get a max contract, in all honesty. My mind hasn't changed from last season to this year. And I don't think Zach LaVine's going to be in a sign and trade either. So all of these situations about sign and trading for Zach LaVine, trying to get Zion, that's a big one here. Zion recently came out with a quote saying that he couldn't sign an extension faster. That kind of, in my opinion, puts the whole Zion situation dead in the water, because I don't think there's any chance Pelicans will trade Zion if Zion's willing to extend there. So interesting there. In my opinion, Zach LaVine is one of the best players in free agency, and I think we have to keep him here. And we're going to have to work around this team. Maybe make a trade in terms of the other big three, even though I don't think that's going to happen. I think this team will relatively stay the same in terms of the big players on this team. I think Lonzo will stay here. I think DeMar will stay here. I think LaVine will stay here. And I think Vucevic will stay here, whether we like it or not. But we'll get more into that in the future. And obviously the future is not guaranteed. But Zach LaVine, with those interesting words, basically saying that it's not a guarantee he's going to stay here. There's going to be competition. There's going to be, I guess, people and teams wanting Zach LaVine. And when there's competition in the way, I think if there was no competition for Zach LaVine, we'd probably try to get him a little bit less than the max. But now that there's competition, there are teams that are going to be wanting to offer him more. We're going to have to spend that max contract, in my opinion. And I think the Chicago Bulls will do it. And I think he deserves it for his previous years, not this season, to be honest. So let's just wait and see. It's his first playoffs as well, and that was definitely disappointing for a first playoff run, but we got to see better from everybody. It wasn't just Zach LaVine that had a terrible ride in this playoff series. DeMar was pretty bad, to be honest. One good game, the rest was very, very average. Vucevic was a three-point, apparently wanted to play like Steph Curry, bro, or Klay Thompson, just catch and shoot from the three-point line the whole time. Everybody has a lot of criticism towards the Chicago Bulls team, and we definitely need to make that adjustments, but we'll see how it goes. I think Zach LaVine will be here. That's all I'm really going to say on the situation. I did have a video prior to this one that was meant to come out a little bit earlier today, but obviously when you hear stuff like this, I think it's very important to discuss the current events of the Chicago Bulls, and I don't think I could have let this one slide another day. It's really interesting. That quote from Zach LaVine is, it's basically no guarantees. Just because he loves this team or he cares about this team does not mean he's willing to stay here. So we got to make sure we're on our A game if we want to bring Zach LaVine back. But let me ask you another question. Let's say we don't bring Zach LaVine back. Looking at the free agency period for the Chicago Bulls, who would you bring in with that money that we could offer a max contract to if you don't want to give it to Zach LaVine? That's another question I have to ask. I haven't really looked at the free agency list in terms of this season, I'm going to be honest. So I don't really know what else to say. I don't really know who's worthy, I guess, of that max contract type of thing. So again, who knows? But we'll have to wait and see when the time comes, obviously. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Have a wonderful and safe day, Bulls Nation. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care.